George Mackenzie, this guy here, he hates the Covenanters. In fact, he supported the other side. He supported the king's religion. But he's also a very violent and sadistic man. When people are placed into his prisons, he will ensure there's a very high chance they're not going to survive. So guys, that's his history. Now after he died, he was buried here in Greyfriars. He was given this massive mausoleum. But then he rested quite comfortably inside his mausoleum for hundreds of years. In fact, not a peep was heard from it until 1998. Now what happened in 98 was there was a homeless man by the name of Bandana Joe, real name. So guys, he apparently will enter the Black Mausoleum, fall through the floor and disturb George Mackenzie's coffin, which is a problem. Because in Scottish superstition it says that if you disturb somebody's grave, you will come up as a ghost. But if you disturb the grave of somebody who lived a violent life, you will be resurrected again, not just as a ghost, but as a poltergeist. Which, for lack of a better definition, super ghost. Apparently that's what happened. After Bandana Joe disturbed the grave, George Mackenzie rose up, and all sorts of weird paranormal things started happening in the Black Mausoleum and just around the outskirts of it. People were getting attacked, they were passing out, they were coming out with scratches and bruises on their person. So many sightings and so many occurrences started happening that the council actually hired an exorcist to go into the Black Mausoleum, but the man will enter, turn around, come out again, tell us he fears for his life, and then he will die 3 months later. Probably a coincidence. Now, having said that, the council and people were starting to get a little bit unnerved. Kids were sending other kids in there on dares and all sorts of things. So the council decided they were going to stop these problems. Any paranormal things that were happening were going to come to an end. So what they did to solve the problem was the only thing they could do. They put a lock on the door. Yeah. But apparently it worked. Guys, after the lock was put on the door, everything stopped. There were no more attacks. There were no more paranormal sightings. Edinburgh was safe. Up until 2002. Now, apparently what happened that year were there were two young teenage boys. They were hanging out in the cemetery. They discovered a human skull. So instead of turning that into the authorities, they realized something. They said, wait, we're teenage boys. So they spent the next couple of hours playing football with the skull. North Americans, Australians, soccer. Everyone else, possibly football. Now, having said that, guys, after this, apparently George Mackenzie was angered. He broke free of the confines of the Black Mausoleum and he moved his hauntings over to that corner of the cemetery, the corner that is known as the Covenanters' prison, where he still haunts to this day. He is considered to be the most paranormal being in the entire world, responsible for more documented attacks than any other ghost in Europe. Girls, he hates us. Apparently, he attacks you from the left-hand side. People come out with scratches and bruises on their person and people pass out. Having said that, guys, if you are actually a little bit skeptical, you're having trouble believing whether or not any of this can actually be true, if it helps, it's on Wikipedia. Really, if it's on Wikipedia, it must be true. Having said that, guys, I am now going to walk you over to the Covenanters' prison. This is apparently where he now haunts. I will let you decide for yourselves whether or not you think that's the most haunted place in the world. I will reassure anyone who is feeling a little bit nervous, don't worry when we go over there. I've never had anything weird happen over in that corner of the cemetery. I've never had anybody pass out on me in this cemetery, so you're fine.